also, I had one of the craziest, funniest, weirdest, semi-homoerotic dreams I've ever had. But it was one of these things where, because of my situation, my hypervigilance disorder, I sometimes just sort of lay in bed in this weird state where I'm not really asleep, but my eyes are closed. I'm relaxed, but I'm not really in REM, and my mind's just sort of going and wandering, and I'm coming up with things to amuse myself that I usually think are much funnier. And then when I wake up and I see what I've written down on my little stick-it pad there, my Post-it pad, it's not as great. But this one...
It's like drunken poetry.
It's drunken poetry. But this one, it's... well, I don't know if it's good. It's probably not pragmatic, but it would be fun. And here's what this one was. Every male in America, there's about 160 million of us, but let's just say over 18, so let's say 100 million American males. I had devised a water displacement test using the man's phallus. Meaning, you were gonna lie down. I was working it out, and I realized what had happened is I'm getting ready to go to a race, and I'm driving Paul Newman's big scary car, and so it's been kind of on my mind about prepping the car and getting it into the trailers and all that kind of stuff. And I spent the weekend cutting some aluminum and notching these trailers, ramps so that it would fit. So I kind of was up in my head about aluminum and space and templates and size and geometry and stuff like that. And I reckoned that if you took a quarter-inch big plate of quarter-inch thick aluminum and every guy laid on it and we put a hole in the center of it and you put your erect junk through it and we lowered it into a graduated cylinder, if we all did that, we'd see how much water was displaced.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the winner would be the one who displaced the most water. The loser would be his wife. But then here's where...
So it's a way to look at
here's
it.
Here's where it takes a turn for the, like I said, the semi-homoerotic and possibly macabre.
Oh, here's where it takes a turn?
Yeah. You're lying in bed casually musing about penis.
I must have had a boner and been on my belly or something. Then I decide everybody gets a windbreaker with a number on it.
Here's where it gets exciting.
And they must walk around with that windbreaker on. And the way it works is it's sort of like in a graduating class of 100 million, where were you? You see what I'm saying?
Now, would it be there's a number 1 through 100 and something thousand, or would it be how much you displaced? Would it be a CC?
It's how much. It'd be the first time a black guy was valedictorian. But no, I'm saying, you'd have some guys probably in the couple of power forwards in the NBA who'd be walking around in the teens, in the single digits.
Right.
And then but it'd be funny to have that guy go to the mall. Yeah. Everyone just had to wear them. And that was it. And, like I said, the bottom of the thing would say 100 million, or whatever the adult age males on this planet
population, right?
Are. There'd be excuses. There'd be a lot of talking about bettering your number next year. Yep. There'd be discussions on patterns like immigration. If we can get enough Asians immigrating into this country, we're throwing off the curve and things like that.
Maybe. So you got a new windbreaker every year.
Yes.
There'd also be discussion of the weather when this test was done and people being like, no, you don't understand that if it's smart water, that's totally different. I mean, maybe lying, but...
That's right. Right, yeah.
Oh, I live in Denver, and the atmosphere and the weather.
Yeah.
Plus, between the calcium content and the fluoride in the municipal water at Denver, it's null and void,
it's
the
man
test.
Trying to give us small cock syndrome.
Right. So that was just my fantasy. The part where we all got windbreakers is the part that made it interesting. And it'd make for lively parties. Although
it would.
I'm guessing the guys who are closer to the 100 million mark would probably be staying home.
Be a lot of excuses.
More weekends about...
You have to wash your car again?
Yeah, it's raining outside.
Now, if you died, would they retire your windbreaker?
I'd say
Or stop fucking, would they retire?
Well, if you're the Celtics, you don't retire the six-man's windbreaker who only averaged 4.5 points a game, But Wilt Chamberlain, ironically, his windbreaker's hanging in the rafters. Right. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing if you were, like I said, somewhere in the teens, and certainly, there'd be a whole club. There'd be an entire single-digit club. There'd be a whole double-digit club. Like there'd be golf courses opened up for them.
9 or 10 of each.
If it's every male, the top 1,000 is impressive.
Yeah.
If you're a 4-digit guy or a 3-digit guy, you know what I'm saying? That's
right.
big.
But if you think about it, in a weird way, well, not every male, but most young males at some point fantasize about winning the World Series or being the MVP of the Super Bowl or something when you're 9 years old. But yet there's only a couple Brett Favres out there, Dan Marino's. It'd be that kind of elite group, maybe more elite. And then it'd be fun if Brett Favre was way down the list.
Yeah.
Because then if
the Schadenfreude would be the best.
Yeah, because then the guy who was just working at a loading dock who's like number 17 would be looking at him at number 57 million and be like, really?
Yeah.
I don't know how much that ring doing you for now, buddy.
That'd be a great way to get steroids out of sports. It withers the junk, you know what I'm saying? To get the steroids out of sports.
It would ruin the Wrangler ads. That much I would argue. Because really, you need that extra room down there, do you? Number 61 million? You really do. You need that extra room in the crotch, huh? For what?
What a high price on those guys in the top 500.
What are you protecting? It'd be interesting to see how your life changed. Because would it be like having a good credit rating score? Like, what would this number do for you in terms of not just social stuff, but jobs?
Well, what it would do for you is you'd be more popular with dudes, unfortunately, than with chicks. Because chicks, they don't want anyone who's in the top million, size-wise. Yeah. That's a deal and a vagine breaker.
Girls would be like, I've been with a guy in the top million, but let me tell you something, it's not worth it.
Not going back.
Not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fuck my back up.
Somewhere in the 10 millions.
Would we?
I think women...
Yes, you would, Alison.
Okay.
I think women...
I guess we would.
I think women would try to stay out of the double digits, the teens, and especially the single digits. Now there'd be some curiosity seekers out there.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, and it would open up a new realm. And again, the number one status it's the Stanley Cup. You get it for the year, but you may not have it the following year. Who knows? There could be some young upstart 17-year-old that hit a growth spurt somehow.
An up-and-comer.
Nipping at your heels with his giant cock,
Slapping at your ankles.
You'd probably have to train, I don't know, eat a lot of fatty foods and think about Emmanuel versus Lady Chatterley in outer space.
I'll do it.
But I just mean, certainly the guy with the number one, and he'd do a lot of interviews, like athletes. Like, I know there's a target on my back. I know everyone like to come into town and knock off the sheriff, I know number one.
You go against number one, you get the other guy's best every time.
Every time. That's right.
There's
you go
no
up
sneak
against
up on anyone when you're number one.
Now everyone circles me on their calendar. Yeah. Yeah. And then it'd be weird, but you have to thank God.
Yeah.
So thank Jesus Christ for his blessing.
And your agent.
Right. And I'm guessing there'd definitely be work. If Octomom can get a little work, writing a book.
Yeah.
Doing a little reporting, for some bad cable outlet or something. There'd definitely be a reality show.
Oh, this could be a hero.
Sure. There'd be a reality show about the people who test it.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There'd be, this is huge. We should stop talking about it because
we're giving it away.
We're sitting on a gold mine here, people.
Too much.
Now, I don't know if we could get everyone to wear the windbreaker.
Well, we just make them.
But have no choice.
But even if we got half the country...
The top half.
But do you envision a certain color? Like, how detailed was the way you envisioned the windbreaker?
I had it as sort of an ATF sort of thing in that it needed to read from as far away as possible. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And of course, the numbers would get smaller as they got bigger. The number one would be 24 inches tall and 9 inches wide.
Not unlike the penises of the corresponding people.
Right, but of course, once you got into the, and then into the multiple digits, the numbers would get smaller, and then there'd just be this weird crossover because you figure the guy who was like number 13 might actually be 13, if you think about it.
What do you mean?
I got to slow down on that one.
The guy who wears 13 might be 13?
Yeah. Neither one of them.
Yeah, no. Well,
You know what?
Sorry, dude.
but in the shower, 11.
Oh, 13.
You know what I'm saying? There would be a point where, now obviously number 1's not number 1,
No.
and number 27's not number 27,
No.
but somewhere
There's
Right.
an equilibrium.
I'd like to know
That's
where
perfect.
where do you think that range would be? 12, 13, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So 13 would be 13?
Well, so we're guessing that means 1 through 12 have larger than 13.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
That's right.
It's awfully
I'm betting
big.
on it.
Yeah.
I'm putting my reputation on it.
Wow. Big words.
Yes.
We could call him the fulcrum. It's where the teeter-totter balances.
That'd be a weird one. Like if somebody really just put a gun under your chin and went, is 13 13 or is 14 14 or is 12 12?
I mean,
16 isn't 16.
How big do they get?
You know,
Anyone?
the deal is that we just haven't really checked. It's the
know
guys
what?
that are willing to do porn, and there's some pretty freakish dudes out there.
I'm thinking it's not 13 because Jonah Falcon is a famous, just normal guy who has a huge penis, and it's been documented and photographed and everything. And it's like, I want to say
Who?
it's like, no, everyone knows Jonah Falcon. It's like 13 inches long, 14 inches long.
The calmness with which you're carrying on about Jonah
That's right.
Falcon.
You guys know Jonah Falcon?
What, from a documentary, I hope?
No, Jonah
Oh.
Falcon is like a guy who's been in Rolling Stone. They've
Oh,
programmed
that
no,
guy,
there was,
yeah.
yeah,
He's like
yeah.
a normal dude.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry, stand
Yeah.
corrected.
He's been on either Colbert or Stewart, one of the
Yeah.
guys.
Sure.
They did
The
a show.
guy, yeah.
All
He's
right.
like a normal dude. But I'm saying
Seen
it's
a
probably
photo
around
of him in
10.
his
I'm thinking
underwear.
10 is the fulcrum.
You're saying there's only 9 guys on the planet that are above 10 inches?
Yeah.
You got
God damn it!
I don't
Or
think
in the
so.
U.S. In the U.S. In the U.S. See now,
Africa, definitely.
yeah, it's screwing with you. Yeah, I'm going back to 12 or 13. I'm 13.
I
Well,
think
ask
13
Dr.
is
Bruce.
it, yeah.
Bruce's researches quite heavily. He'll tell us about. Anyway, that's what I dream about. In between the Paul Newman car stuff.
Yeah.
I would argue that this is maybe the most masculine dream I've ever had. I don't.
Certainly.
All right. It'd be fun, though. It'd be a fun year. Wouldn't it be a fun year?
You'd have to have special, large, graduated cylinders for the top 10 because they wouldn't fit into the normal cylinders.
They could.
for the
They
displacement
should
test.
get to keep it as a trophy.
That's right.
Right, but
Wear it around their neck.
But displacement is displacement. I think you'd go up to the biggest size,
Oh.
and we'd all use the same. It has to be.
How humiliating.
There needs to be sanctioning bodies. You know what I mean? Whatever you're putting out, you're putting out.
Yeah. It's true.
All right. So let's get working on that.
Let's get a picture of Jonah Falcon up there.
Let's get a picture of Jonah Falcon.